I can admit when I was wrong. And I was wrong about McLaren. Mika Hakkinen, sorry for doubting you. You knew. You don't happen to count the lottery numbers as well, do you? I'm kidding. I said I would come back to McLaren in the summer break, and here I am to speak about McLaren because their upgrades, it's almost like they saw everybody on Twitter wanting someone to get closer to Red Bull, and they just went, had our upgrades. First, a quick rundown of their weekends since hitting the upgrades, then on to my thoughts and where I think McLaren can end up in the standings and into next season. The team from Woking launched their upgrades first at the Austrian Grand Prix a few weeks ago on Norris's car, and he managed to stick it in P4 on the grid, which is where he finished the race after Sainz was penalised post-race. Norris crossed the line P5, but the point remains, it was at the time his best qualifying and race this season. He was only around 2.5 tenths off a pole, and he crossed the finish line 21 seconds or so behind Leclerc and the Ferrari in P2. I kinda should compare to Verstappen because he won the race, and I will be going forward, but he did pit for the fastest lap here, so the gap to him wasn't as big as it would have been. Now, I was a bit skeptical after this race on believing if the upgrades were working or no, as Norris has always been pretty good in Austria, so I was thinking, okay, maybe this was just, you know, the ever normal Norris Austria special. But the right up of their performances, it continued in Silverstone. Piastri also got the upgrades, and they were the nearest challengers to Red Bull that weekend. In qualifying second and third, where they probably would have finished the race with, where they definitely would have finished the race without the safety car that kind of stole the podium from Piastri, and he had to settle for P4. I was still not fully convinced yet. I was thinking, okay, they do look good, but let's see how Hungary goes, then we'll see, and I'll come back to them later. And I'm a level with you guys. I didn't think they'd be as strong in Hungary. I was wrong. Qualifying was really close, as we all mind that brilliant qualifying hour, but the McLarens locked out the second row, and then come race day, Piastri, he was on it at the start. He was absolutely on it. He got one hell of a start. He jumped from 4th to 2nd. He did slip back to P5 come the end of the race, while Norris recorded 2nd once again, but this was the weekend that convinced me. Yeah, Mika was right. He knew. The man's not crazy. Not that I said he was. I don't think I did anyway. Hungary is a pretty different track to Silverstone, and McLaren were still quick. They were still up there. Then there's Spa, where I expected them to be up there, but they weren't as great in the race. But I think that was just due to too much downforce or whatever. And again, the weather forecast was said to be a lot of rain. It was a fair mistake to make. Though I will say Norris still did really good to finish P7 considering, but qualifying, Piastri looked like he was a genuine threat for pole position, but it just didn't come together for him in Q3, but it was still a great qualifying day for him. And the sprint day, he was only 11 thousandths off a pole, led his first laps in F1, finished P2, driver of the sprint day, I tell ya. He and where McLaren were at the start of the season, this turnaround for them has been huge, and it puts them in a pretty strong position for the rest of the season to be challenging for those, you know, the kind of top 6 positions. They've been able to do with this upgrade basically what Aston Martin did at the start of the year, and that's leapt them up the order. And admittedly, McLaren have kind of done it at a better point of the season, to if you look at it one way, because how you start the season doesn't really matter too much. What matters is how you respond to that start and how you go on to finish the year. Now, in terms of the Constructors' Championship, I think second might be a bit of a stretch for them, but I think McLaren are definitely going to finish in the top 4. Possibly challenge for P3. It's not out the realm of possibility. That much depends on Ferrari, I think. If they get everything right and Red Bull run into some troubles, I can definitely see McLaren at least nabbing a win in the second half of the season. But as I say, Red Bull will have to get something wrong for that to happen. But I think McLaren can finish minimum P4 in the Constructors. And as for the drivers, I think Norris is going to challenge for P5 at least. He ain't too far off of that at the moment. But regardless of where they finish this year, it's gonna put them in a good position heading into next year, and will give McLaren a great chance to really solidify themselves back at the top end to aim for challenging for championships again. That does of course require another step to make that step to be challenging at the top, race in, race out for race wins, and that is arguably the most difficult step to make. And I don't think they'll be championship challengers next year, but they can in 2025 if they get 2024 right. I am only speaking about up to 2025 because there is a big reg change due in 26 and God knows who's going to be at the top then. Either way, the Nice 2 season is going to be big for them, as their star driver Lando Norris is due to contract at the end of 25, and I doubt McLaren want to lose him. I think they will definitely want to re-sign him, and with the aforementioned drag change coming in 26, it might be a little more tricky to prove they'll be good in 26 off of who they're doing on track in 24 and 25, but it'll no doubt definitely play a factor in that. And in fact, the reg change could be one of the reasons why McLaren will probably want to extend the current deal they have with Norris, so that heading into 26 they have a talented driver who is experienced with the team. He knows the team. It's a similar thing as to why I think Ferrari will want to have Leclerc still with them in 26. There is a rumor, by the way, that he has already signed a new deal with the team, but that's a topic I'll give my thoughts on in a YouTube short / TikTok. My TikTok is linked below. And it's probably why Red Bull have Max locked in well into the new regs. Give the team some stability. Zach Brown is confident they'll be able to keep Norris, but we'll see what happens. If they keep on giving him good cars next year and also in 2025, then I do definitely think he'll stick around. And if he sticks around, then McLaren do have a really good chance of challenging for championships. Piastri as well. Let's not forget. Norris, he's a junior series champion. So is Oscar Piastri. Oscar Piastri ain't no slouch. That's my point. And McLaren, are they back? Well, very possibly yes. They very possibly could be back. Or well, close to being back. What's your thoughts on McLaren, Enu? Where do you think they can finish in the Constructors' Championship this year? And where do you think they can go over the next 2 seasons? And finally, do you see Lando Norris re-signing with McLaren beyond 2025 or going elsewhere? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Drop a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.